UFC 299 takes place this weekend in Miami, Florida. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my unbiased predictions for the entire card. Keep in mind, these are not official picks. This is just my prediction on how I think each fight is going to go, if that makes sense. As many of you know, I am a purist of the sport. I love to watch good fights, and I like to support fighters whether they win or whether they lose. So let's get right into it. Starting with the first fight on the main card, it is Yadong versus Petr Yan. Petr Yan is a phenomenal fighter, and he is the former bantamweight champion. Petr is extremely well-rounded, and he is a very good striker. However, something that's often overlooked is his ability to grapple, which he can do. However, this weekend he is facing Yadong, a fighter who is also a phenomenal striker and somebody who could also wrestle really well. Petr likes to cover up and move in when he's fighting. However, this in my opinion is not something he can do against Song, as Song just has way too much power in his hands. Yan is a decent wrestler like we talked about, and so is Song. And to be honest, I don't see this turning into a grappling match. Petr usually likes to get in close and get a couple of takedowns, but to be honest, I think Song has the skills to keep the fight standing and on the feet. This is a genuinely really hard fight to predict, but I think it's going to be one of the better fights of the night. The longer this fight goes, the more I think it'll favor Petr Yan. I believe Yadong has the best chance at winning early in the fight. He has incredible knockout power, and if he doesn't knock out Petr Yan, I think Petr Yan is going to kind of outpoint him and use his experience, which is something Petr has more of, to beat Yadong. The next fight we're looking at is between Gilbert Burns and Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena is one of the best strikers in the UFC. In fact, I just watched a video talking about how good he was, or at least showing how good he was. Footworks, combination, head movement, all the things that make a good striker, Jack does extremely well. And he has been undefeated ever since he entered the UFC. He is a rising star. However, this weekend he will be taking on Gilbert Burns, who is an absolute legend of the sport, and currently ranked number 4 in the welterweight division. Gilbert Burns is a fighter's fighter, and he puts on a show whether he wins or whether he loses. Something that I think is underestimated of Gilbert Burns going into this weekend is his striking ability. The dude does have some nasty knockout power. People will often strike with him, think they have the advantage, and get knocked out. Gilbert Burns does like to trade with people in the middle of the octagon, swinging. However, something Gilbert Burns cannot do with Jack is stand in the middle of the octagon and trade with him. Jack's striking is just far too good, and his combinations are far too deadly to sit there and strike with him. If this fight stays on the feet, I think Jack is going to win and have the advantage. In my opinion, the best bet for Gilbert Burns is going to be use his striking, get in close, get a takedown, and secure a submission. Gilbert Burns can definitely dominate Jack when it comes to the ground in wrestling. The next fight we're looking at is going to be Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland. Although I love Kevin Holland and he is one of my favorite fighters, he is facing an absolute beast in Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is a phenomenal striker, and when you look at the stats that the UFC posted for this fight, they're pretty insane. The landed per minute is about the same, however the significant strikes is 76% for Michael Venom Page. The absorb per minute is probably the lowest I've ever seen it, of 0.45, and his defense is 77%. Even his grappling stats are impressive. He has a 100% takedown accuracy, a 100% takedown to defense, and a takedown average of 3.4. And he is somebody who is known as a striker. Now keep in mind those stats do seem a little skewed, but Michael Venom Page is a man who can truly do it all. I definitely do think Michael Venom Page is the more well-rounded of the two fighters. I do believe Kevin Holland will stand up and strike with Michael Venom Page and not grapple him, similar to the way he stood up and struck with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and didn't try to grapple Wonderboy at all. If Kevin Holland does this, I don't think he's going to have a good night. Kevin Holland had a hard time landing much of anything on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but that's because Wonderboy Thompson is very elusive and bounces and has this karate-like fighting stance. And Michael Venom Page has a very similar style. And in my opinion, Michael Venom Page is a lot harder to hit than Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So I think Kevin Holland is going to have a lot of trouble with this fight. But as a fan of Kevin Holland, I hope to see him back in the win column. Moving on to the next fight, Dustin Poirier versus Benoît Saint-Denis. this is the fight I am most excited for throughout the entire year so far. Both men are statistically close when it comes to striking. However, something that needs to be pointed out is the 5.2 absorb per minute by Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit takes a lot of damage and he likes to sit in the pocket and trade with fighters. This is not something he can do with Dustin Poirier, as Dustin Poirier has the power to put anyone's lights out. If Benoit Saint-Denis does not respect the power of Dustin Poirier, he is going to get knocked out. However, something that Benoit Saint-Denis does really well is mix up his fighting. He has some really nasty kicks, he has some really good wrestling, and he has some really good submission game. Benoit Saint-Denis is a very well-rounded fighter and has a lot of tools in the toolbox. And he utilizes all his tools more often than Dustin Poirier does. Dustin Poirier relies very heavily on his boxing. And I think Benoit Saint-Denis is the more well-rounded of the two fighters and uses the more tools at his disposal. And I think he definitely has a good chance to beat Dustin Poirier. However, Dustin Poirier is Dustin Poirier. He's the number 3 ranked lightweight in probably one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC. 15 wins by knockout, 7 wins by submission, and 13 first-round finishes. The man is a truly gifted fighter. However, I don't think this is going to be an easy fight for either man. I think this fight is going to be an all-out war. Now, moving on to the main event, Marlon Vera versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now, these two have fought before, back in 2020, where Marlon would win by KO. Now, these were set up by some nasty leg kicks by Marlon Vera. When we take a look at the stats, neither man is really a grappler, but I do think Marlon would have a slight advantage if the fight goes to the ground. But I don't think this fight is going to go to the ground at all. I think this fight is going to come down to who is the better striker. And in my opinion, I think the better striker is Sugar Sean O'Malley. When we look at stats, the landed per minute is 7.25 for Sugar Sean O'Malley. The significant strikes is a 61%. The absorb per minute is a 3.51, and his defense is 67%. All of Sugar Sean O'Malley's stats are a lot better than Marlon Vera's. And although Marlon Vera was able to beat Sugar Sean O'Malley back in 2020, like we talked about earlier, that was set up with some nasty leg kicks. But I don't think the leg kicks will be there for Marlon Vera this time, simply because Sugar Sean O'Malley made the mistake in 2020 of underestimating those leg kicks. He showed them no respect whatsoever. And if you go back and watch the fight, he wasn't bothering to check any of them or anything like that. He was just letting them hit his leg. And at the time, the calf kick was kind of emerging in popularity. And I don't think Sugar Sean O'Malley is going to underestimate those leg kicks again and make the same mistake he did in that first fight. So really quickly, just something to add in, I am editing the video in the background as you can see, but really quickly, there are a lot of people who are going to say that Sugar Sean O'Malley rolled his ankle and that's what caused him to lose the fight. And there are some people who will say it was the leg kicks by Marlon Vera which damaged Sugar Sean O'Malley's leg, which caused him to lose the fight. I am somebody who believes that it was the leg kicks of Marlon Vera that damaged Sean O'Malley's leg, caused him to step wrong, and when he rolled his ankle, he just kind of hurt his leg even more. Essentially, I believe the ankle rolling was set up by Marlon Vera with the leg kicks, unintentionally of course, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'll let you get back to the video. So, with the kicks out of the equation, and with Sugar Sean O'Malley being the better striker, I think he definitely has the edge going into this Saturday night. But Marlon Vera is not somebody Sugar Sean O'Malley can underestimate. Marlon himself is a great striker. And Marlon Vera also has a bit more of a grappling game than Sugar Sean O'Malley. If Marlon Vera can manage this, get this fight to the ground, I definitely think he might win by submission. Anyways, that's going to do it for these predictions. I hope you did enjoy. As per usual, I wish all the fighters luck on Saturday night, and I hope us fight fans get some good fights. If you guys could please drop a like, comment, and subscribe on the video, I'd really appreciate it. Also, please be sure to leave me some feedback down in the description below or the comment section below, as it really does help me become a better YouTuber. Talk about things you liked about the video and talk about things you didn't like about the video. It really does help me. Anyways, with that being said, love all of you, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Adios.